Earlier today I didn't think that I would be stood here. This is Gamston Wood and it's the 6th of June, and I didn't think that conditions for moth trapping would be any good this evening. But they are. Temperatures forecasted to go down to about 14 centigrade. There's going to be a degree of cloud cover and it's very nice. All we need now is for it to get dark. Be interesting to see what turns up. We should get a decent list. This is June after all. We're off and running at 21:45. Sky is lightly clouded over, so wait for the light to attain full brightness on what is a lovely night here at Gamston Wood on the 6th of June. Some nice late evening song thrush song. The sky still isn't dark yet, and the first common swift has only just arrived at the line, but there are certainly a lot more of a Coleophora. And going on last year, when I had lots of Coleophora at the same time when I was here apparently, and they turned out to be Coleophora case-pitted yellow, and I've no reason to think otherwise of the lot that are around here. The larvae feed on Juncus. They built a portable case as to all Coleophora, and the larva lives on Juncus, and there are lots of Juncus in this immediate area. And so there's common swifting. I don't think there'll be many common swifts because this really isn't common swift sort of habitat. But more colourful fare has flown past in the form of a cinnabar. I think my second or third cinnabar of the year. It's not a moth that comes to light a great deal, but it's beautiful when seen during the day. Many people often think that it's a butterfly because the hind wings are a really bright pink. Very attractive moth. The other moth is one that we saw in the last trapping video from Missing Car, and it's barred yellow, one of my favourites. I love brimstone, but barred yellow has to beat brimstone. It's just that different shade of yellow, more of a golden yellow. It's a very attractive and beautiful species. So that's what's in so far. And so we'll wait for the sky to become even darker. There's a few more moths starting to come in now, and among them that have dropped in the last 5-10 minutes is this figure of 80. Surprising how some moths sometimes they just come straight in, just flop down onto the sheet and then don't move. And that's exactly what this figure of 80 has done. The little moth to the right of it is one of the Colliophoras, the Colliaphora caspititiella. Not so impressive as a figure of 80, which is a very nice moth, and as I mentioned before in previous videos when I've trapped this species, it's not a moth that Dilys and I ever trapped a great deal of, just odd ones. So nice to see this drop in, and as I mentioned, more moths are starting to appear at the light now. Well, I just had to, because this is an absolutely stonkingly fresh brimstone, as fresh as it came out of the chrysalis, which may have been earlier today. Just look at that, it's beautiful. What a moth. And I know that this has become a compulsory image, but rightly so in my mind. It may well be one of the commonest moths that we trap, but I don't mind trapping these. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was, getting late into the year, and these appeared in big numbers at Besthorpe, and they look fabulous on the sheet. And this one looks equally fabulous, even if it's the only one on the sheet. It's a stunning moth, the brimstone, it really is. Absolutely fabulous thing. Rather unusual angle, I know, and not one I'm particularly fond of, but while it sat still, I thought I'll try and film this, because I don't think I've ever showed you one of these before, and it's a broken barred carpet. Very attractive. In between the darker areas on the forewings there, it's almost a delicate olive green, and it gets the name because that bar going across the centre of the forewings is broken. It's variable in size and shape too. It's a very attractive carpet, and not one that I can remember ever trapping in any numbers, maybe only on a couple of occasions. So it's a nice one to get this. There's a good range of moths coming in now. We're on the way to 40 species, and among them is a small tortrix that's in here. You won't be able to see it, and so I'll put a photo in. I think I've only got one photo because it's only a moth that I've encountered once before, and it was flighty, hence the reason why there's only one photo on the website. But it's Epinotia cruciana, and the only time I've seen this moth is many years ago at a woodland local to where I live. So it's a really nice species to get this. This may well be the moth of the night. It's a shame you can't see it, but at least you've got a photo to have a look at. Other species that's in, Udea olivalis is in, first one of the year. Bee moth is a species that I don't mention too often, but a very attractive moth, bee moth, and very variable too. The males and females are slightly different from each other. Other species that have come in terms of micros, there's a number of Crambus latianellus, and if you trap a crambid this time of year, it's undoubtedly going to be Crambus latianellus. It's the first of the crambids, or the so-called grass veneers, which fly during the year. So you're halfway there to an identification for this particular grass veneer, and it's quite variable but attractively marked too. Bramble shoot moth, Notocelia udmaniana, is in, and the first green oak tortrix. I don't know where it is. It's been on the sheet and I was going to film it, but it's up and off by the looks of it. But of the larger moths, common marble carpet, the first mottled beauty of the year has come in. Grey pug, which is a very attractively marked pug when fresh, but this was one of the darker, more melanic forms where the wings were just dark grey and there was a great big discal spot stuck in the middle of the forewings. Clouded silver is in. We're on to 3 brimstones now, and couple of large yellow underwings which were doing their best to make it seem like it was autumn. They were being their usual boisterous self, which large yellow underwings tend to be, but thankfully they can't do much damage here because they're not contained in any way. So a nice range of moths that's developing, still breezy in the tops of the aspens. I can hear it blowing through, but down here it's absolutely lovely, and a temperature of 14 centigrade. Well, I thought I'd show you this beautiful golden Y. It's come in, it's absolutely immaculate. I imagine this time last night was safely tucked in its chrysalis, but it also gives a good idea of how moths in real life can vary from their illustrations, and these in this book are the best illustrations. I prefer drawn or painted illustrations to photographic identification guides. But this beautiful golden white isn't a species that I ever trap a great deal of, maybe get 1 or 2 a year. So it's nice to see this, and nice to just give you an idea of what it looks like compared to the illustration there. So this one is absolutely immaculate. Now, while I've managed to get this to stay still for 30 seconds or so, we'll have a quick look at this. But this is a beautiful moth. This is a buff arches, and what a beauty it is. It really is an absolute stunner, this, and even better because it is immaculate. It's common, will turn up at light in variable numbers, but it's one of those moths that rarely settles at the light. Comes in for a bit, buzzes around, and then eventually goes off again. So nice to see this species and to get a little bit of footage of it. Well, as you can probably hear, my light breeze blowing gently through the tops of the aspens, of which I am trapping underneath, has become, well, full-scale wind, you could say. It's become very windy in this last half an hour. Moths are coming in, and good numbers of micro moths, especially in terms of species, and one is of particular interest. It's Ancillis litana. It's a specific interest because I've never seen the moth before, and I was feeling that it's going to be an uncommon species. It's a moth that is found around aspen. Aspen is the larval food plant. No surprise really, but I think it's going to be a good moth for Nottinghamshire. It's not on the website, and by now, with over 1,200 species illustrated on the website, if a moth that you catch isn't on the website, then it's generally very rare in the county. So I have a couple of specimens to go back to photograph in the morning and then bring back and release tomorrow. And there is another one around here somewhere on the sheet, but doing well for species. We're approaching 60 species now. I'm sure I've forgotten to add a couple on. There's lots of micros. That's nice to see that such a good range of micros. I have no idea at all what the time is. It's flown by, and something's caught my eye on the other side of the sheet. So I'm going to have a look, see what that is, and pour myself a cup of tea. Then we'll review the situation as to how long I stopped trapping here this evening. But it has got much windier than what it was when I first started trapping. It's surprising what you miss and you don't see come in, and somehow I didn't see this land or appear underneath me. And yet the moth I was filming, the buff arches that we've just looked at, is no more than 5-6 inches away from this. This, of course, is an elephant hawk moth, and I know we've seen these before, and everyone's probably seen an elephant hawk moth, but sometimes you just can't turn down the opportunity when it presents itself. And this actually gives us a bit of a glimpse, almost a brief glimpse, if you will, of that Barbie pink of the hind wings. Underneath, the moth is even more pink. And here we go, we're starting to warm up now. Gives us an opportunity to also look at the colours on the thorax and the abdomen. What a stunning moth. Well, as you can no doubt hear, it's blowing a gale through the tops of the trees. I didn't expect that it would become as breezy as this. The temperature's still fine, temperature's still 14 centigrade. And I've had some really nice moths in this last sort of half an hour. Older moth, a species that I saw and trapped for the first time in a number of years at Smallford Warren recently. Had a single one of those come in. It's amazing how sometimes you can go for years without recording the species, and then all of a sudden, like the proverbial buses, two come along at once. So it's nice to see another older moth. Coronet is another beautiful moth that has come in at the light. It's a very variable species in terms of coloration. Some can be green and some almost generally black and white, but the background markings remain the same. But you can see that there are moths coming in despite the windy conditions. It's certainly windier at treetop height than it is here at ground level, but it's midnight, so cup of tea time it is. We'll see what's going to come in, and depending on what comes in depends on how long I stop for. Well, I'm admitting defeat to the wind. It's far too windy now, so it's a steady pack up time. This is going to stop the moths from coming in, unfortunately, because we were going so well, but it's just too windy. Even down here at these lower levels, it's becoming increasingly windy, as I've mentioned. Not that much fun to be trapping in. So a steady pack up it is, and then we head for home.